Hi friends! Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca. My husband Murphy and I travel full-time in our 1969 Volkswagen bus. If you haven't already, please subscribe down below. I make new videos every Tuesday about tips and tricks for van life and just vlogging our travel adventures. So today I want to share with you our budget for van life. When we were transitioning into living and traveling full-time in our bus, one of the hardest things for us to figure out was how much it was really going to cost. So I thought this might be helpful for other people who might be considering van life to see what our expenses look like. So a couple of caveats with the numbers that I shared today. The first is that this is based on an 8-month average. So I took our expenses from the last 8 months of living in the van and averaged them out per month. So there were some months where things might have been way higher and somewhere might have been way lower, but I'm just taking the average from all 8 months. The second is that this is really reflective of our travel style and our goals for our time in the bus so far. So we had the goal of traveling around the United States, seeing a bunch of national parks, climbing in a bunch of very specific areas before summertime came. So for instance, our gas expenses are pretty high, but it's because we've done almost 21,000 miles in the first 8 months that we were living in the bus. And on the flip side of that, like our camping expenses are really low because we would prefer like wild camping rather than paying for a campsite. So just know that this is really reflective of the way that we like to travel and what we wanted to accomplish in the first 8 months in the bus. So yours might be a little bit different than ours. So the third is that this is inclusive really of just like universal expenses, things that most people living in vans will incur. So it's not inclusive of things like health insurance, which was just too variable to include in this. I didn't think that would be helpful. Or things like our Kindle subscription or like other little things like that that are far too variable, I think, to really be helpful when trying to determine sort of a baseline budget for van life. All right, so let's jump into it. I break our budget down into 7 categories: gas, food, maintenance, insurance, laundry, gym, miscellaneous. So I'll go through each one of those categories and what we spend on average per month, and I'll go from the largest category to the smallest category. So our biggest expense by far is food. In the food category, we spend on average $618 a month for 2 people. So I know to some of you that might be like absolutely outrageous, but food is something that's really high on our value list. I like to have a lot of good, fresh produce. I love to cook. So it's something that is a worthwhile expenditure and something that I don't mind spending our money on. So it's a really high expense for us. This category does not include eating out. This is us preparing pretty much 3 meals a day, snacks. It also includes water and ice. We have a Yeti cooler that we fill up with ice like every 2 or 3 days. So yeah, we spend quite a bit on food and it is our largest expense. But if you're trying to work on a tighter budget, definitely a place where money could be saved. Right, the second category is gas. We spent on average $472 a month on gas. So like I mentioned, we have traveled a lot in the past 8 months. We put almost 21,000 miles under our belt, so gas is a huge expense for us. Also, because this is an older vehicle, we put only premium gas in, so that comes with a pretty hefty price tag as well. And it's really variable. There were some months where we were traveling a lot and we were in places where gas was really expensive. In some places we visited, it was as much as $5 a gallon. And then other months we stood still for a while and our gas expenses were really, really low. And we were in areas where gas was as low as like $1.98 a gallon. So it was a really variable expense, but when you look at the average, $472 was what we spent per month on average. Our third biggest bucket is maintenance. We spent $387 a month on average for maintenance. And again, this is one of the ones that was pretty variable and hard to predict. So there were some months where all we did was spend, $20 on the supplies for an oil change. And then there was other months where, for instance, when we got stuck in Moab and we had to replace all 4 wheel bearings, where that expense was really, really high. So to take on average $387 a month, and the way that we approach this is we actually had this money in a separate account than our daily expenses, so that we knew it was there when we needed it, and we knew exactly how much was left when some of the bigger expenses happened, right? So like when the wheel bearings did need replacing, we knew like, okay, we already have that money set aside, already knew we were going to spend it on maintenance, like we feel okay about it. So our next bucket is car insurance. With an older classic vehicle, we have a stated value insurance policy, and it costs $118 a month. I could make a whole separate video on trying to insure a classic vehicle that you're going to use all the time. It was very difficult for us to find the right insurance for us, only because a lot of times when you're insuring a classic vehicle like this, there are restrictions on how much you can drive it, where you park it, what you use it for. So to find a policy that allowed us to drive it as much as we do and still cover the actual value of a restored Volkswagen was really difficult. So if you want any more information on that, just leave a comment and I can give you all the information about how we found a policy that was right for us. So our next biggest bucket was our miscellaneous category. In this category, we spent on average $73 per month. And this is sort of a catch-all category. So if we went out to eat, if we wanted to buy a new piece of clothing, if we needed some climbing equipment or like a new phone case, like all of that other stuff goes in this category. You might want to break it down a little bit farther if you're someone who knows that you like to buy clothes every month, or if you're someone who goes out to dinner quite often and you want to budget that differently. But because those expenses are typically pretty low for us, we just threw it all in like a catch-all category. The next category is laundry. We spend on average about $23 a month doing laundry. So we do laundry once a week, and we do all of our laundry together. So lights, darks, towels, sheets, it all goes together and it all comes out fine. So we do limit it to one load using the really big washers at the laundromat, and then that all goes in the dryer together as well. Honestly, simplifying my laundry routine to like everything goes together, everything goes in the dryer, has tremendously simplified doing laundry and has made it a lot less expensive. And the last category is gym membership. We spend $22 a month on a shared gym membership that we have. This might seem like one of those specific expenses I was talking about that seems like it might not apply to everybody, but it's how we shower, so I thought it was kind of universal to share what the cost of that is. So grand total, we spend $1,713 a month on our baseline expenses. Like I said, there's a few things above and beyond this that we add on, but these are our baseline expenses and how much it costs for us. I gotta say, when I say $1,713 out loud, like it sounds really high, but when I compare it to our budget when we were living in an apartment, it's actually significantly lower. At some points in our life, we were spending more than that just on rent alone. So this is significantly cheaper for us. Anyways, I hope you found this helpful. If you are trying to budget for van life, hopefully this gave you just even a little bit of direction in terms of percentages and different buckets of how you can budget your money. If you have any questions or comments or anything, please leave a comment down below. And like I said, I put out new videos every Tuesday, so please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, friends. Now my eyes are tearing. Here, my name is, get my dread out of my face, tips and tricks and okay, what is this? Okay. Amplifying, oh, text message.